The NBA playoffs start the second week of April, with the NHL playoff scheduled to begin immediately after. Whether you're looking to raise the Stanley Cup or lift the Larry O'Brien Trophy, we've got the deal for you. Postseason subscriptions are already a great deal at $219, but with this early bird special, we're slashing it even more to just $177 each, and you get the rest of the regular season for free. Between now and Sunday, April 9th, partner with your favorite NBA or NHL handicapper and get their NHL or NBA best bets all the way through the finals. No coupon is needed. Head to the homepage of your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo expert and finish the NBA and NHL postseason with a bang.
Hey guys, welcome into Wager Talk TV. This is a brand new episode of Puck Time. I'm Andrew McGinnis. I have Carmine Bianco with me and Don Buster in his usual Tuesday spot. We're here to break down 4 games for you guys, best bets at the end of the show, and much, much more. A lot of meaningful games to go over today and the rest of the week before playoff action gets underway. Today's games, we have the Buffalo Sabres visiting Florida Panthers, Pittsburgh Penguins at New Jersey, taking on the Devils, Golden Knights, and Predators. And the nightcap tonight, we're featuring the Oilers and the LA Kings. Should be a great game as those teams met just last week. I want to thank everybody for joining me on my 5% pick yesterday. Nice to have 5% winners like that with the Dallas Stars in regulation, just holding Nashville to just 1 goal. Great performance there from Dallas. And shockingly, Dallas actually gets the season sweep over a divisional opponent, which is something you don't really see very often in the NHL. But I was really pumped about that. And a 2-1 baseball night. So, Carm, I'm feeling good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Listen, congratulations on that win. Sorry, I'm laughing. Some of you guys know why I'm laughing, so I'm not even going to mention it. But congratulations on that win. And for those of you who don't know, Andrew, of course, knocked it out of the park with that win. And I sent him a message, I think with about 10 minutes left in the game. I just said, can you tell your team to stop scoring? Because I had the under 6 in that game, and it ends up pushing, of course, with I think 3 goals in the last 5 or 6 minutes or whatever it was. But a 2-1-1 night overall. It could have been a 3-1 night if not for those late goals in that game. But kudos to you, Andrew. Some unbelievable games over the course of the next few days, which are going to shape how these playoffs are set. So of course, some matchups we already know are going to happen, kind of like the Leafs playing Tampa Bay in the first round. But, you look at the Pacific with Vegas and LA and Edmonton, who are top 3 right now in the West overall. And if nobody catches the Vegas Golden Knights, then the Kings Oilers, who played tonight, that's essentially a 4-point game for that number 2 seed and home ice in the first round of the playoffs. There's just so much going on. Pittsburgh Penguins trying to hold on to their lead. 2 very tough games to go up for them before they finish with 3 that are somewhat easy. I put all games with teams that have a shot of making the playoffs on today's card. We're going to do, as I think you mentioned, Buffalo, Florida, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, Vegas, Nashville, and we're going to finish it off with the aforementioned Kings and Oilers. And with us, our regular Tuesday spot, Don Buster. Don, what's up?
Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, a little rough night last night. I mean, you lose 1 game. I had that Minnesota game. They give up that goal with 30 seconds, lose in overtime. That's a shock to everybody, all my clients and everybody that I've sat on the show for about 4 years. Seems like I don't know what it is with these overtime gods, but another overtime loss makes it a little bit of a losing night instead of being a winning night. But that's what happens in the NHL. I'm really, really, really looking forward to the playoffs where the best team is going to win in overtime, not any of this crap shootouts, flip the coin, who can score, who can put their puck around their back and fake out the goalie. None of that crap. Let's get us some real overtime. Looking forward to the playoffs. Great selection of games tonight, Carmine. Really tough games. It's going to be a pretty good run this last week and a half or so. And looking forward to talking to you guys and trying not to laugh at some of the shenanigans you guys have been up to this last 10 minutes.
Listen, it is all good. This is what this show is about, is bringing hockey content and then some humor to the show as well. And our fabulous producer, Joe Ranieri, the man, puts in tireless effort to make these our content as great as it is. But to your point, and Andrew, we talked about this last night, that game, while I didn't have an official play on it, that Minnesota and Vegas game, I would have loved for Minnesota to win and the game to go under, but Vegas ties it up. It goes to overtime. And I had mentioned on yesterday's show, and I think on Wager Talk today as well, too, that the draw in that game was plus 320. And I could just see these teams trying to share points. I didn't want them to, because both teams, I would rather see one clear winner just because of the future bets I have to win the Central and to win the Pacific. But that game, we're seeing a lot of these draws, Andrew. And I think we're going to see a lot of these draws in the next 10 days or so, as 1 point could be the difference between making or missing the playoffs this year, if you look at both the East and the Western conferences.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, I'm on Buster's side as far as the overtime goes. It's enjoyable if you're a fan. If you're watching as a fan, I like the overtime 3-on-3. If you're watching as a sports bettor and someone that bets on hockey every night, it's frustrating because you did not handicap that game to be played 3-on-3. You handicapped that game to be played 5-on-5. So, I mean, it's going to be a world of a difference when these games go to overtime in the playoffs and we see 5-on-5, 20-minute periods, the same thing as we should see in the regular season. But, I don't like how the scoring works anyway. I think you should get 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an OT win, and 1 point for an OT loss. That's how I would do it. But people think that if that was the case, people with teams would just go way too far ahead in the standings and it wouldn't be very close. But I don't like the 3-on-3 as far as a betting perspective. But as far as a fun and entertainment perspective, it's definitely fun to watch. And congrats there, Carm, on that the draw wager, man. I'm telling you, it's draw season. And in the playoffs, we'll definitely be touching on some of these props and the draw plays because, I mean, like a third of the games in opening rounds last year went to overtime. We'll have to look at it. But let's jump into our opening game here. We have Buffalo taking on the Florida Panthers here. Florida minus 190, Carm, plus 160 underdog. That's your Buffalo Sabres. And what do we have here? A total of 7 shaded towards the over in this one. We have Florida here. It's been very successful against Buffalo, 12-3 straight up at home in their last 15 games against Buffalo. And they're on a 6-1 run the last 7 outright when playing the Sabres. What are your thoughts here in this one, Carmine? And what do you think about the minus 190 price tag? I feel like the price is kind of telling you that Buffalo's checked out and Florida's making that push right now. What do you think?
I don't think the Sabres have checked out. 4-0-1, their last 5 wins over New Jersey, wins over the New York Islanders, wins over the Rangers, an OT loss to the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens, really, Buffalo? Like that point, again, could be the point that costs you a shot at the playoffs. But you look at this, I think the line is way too high in this one. You can look at even the puck line on the Sabres and take the plus 1.5 here. Who would have thought with 5 games left for one of these teams and 7 for the other, the Sabres have a couple extra games in hand, that the starting goalies would be Alex Lyon for Florida, confirmed, and Devon Levy for the Sabres. Who would have thought at this point that these are the 2 goalies that you have in net when you're in a battle to try and catch Pittsburgh and the New York Islanders for a playoff spot? But here we are. And I get the totals at 7. I'm telling you, it's more playoff hockey than open ice hockey. I think in this one, the last 2 games that these 2 teams played this season, the totals were at 7, and the games finished 4-1 and 3-1. A lot of those overs, and Ralph Michaels has given us those stat sheets of games going over the total when the line is 7. a lot of those were because of the Edmonton Oilers going over that number prior to the last couple of games for Florida. They had played 9 games where the total was at 7, and they had gone under 6 times and pushed 3 times. I believe one of those games has gone over since. So it's not an automatic over because it is the Florida Panthers. And if you watch the Sabres game that they played against, I think it was the New York Rangers, in Levy's first game in which they win it in OT, they played, or a shootout, they played absolutely phenomenal defense in front of them. And they could do the exact same thing tonight. This is a team looking to play well. He played very well in his first start, his first start in the NHL. He could replicate that tonight. If they can put in a good defensive effort and play 60 minutes of hockey, they have a chance of winning this game. But I'm leaning under here. I just think the number of 7, I don't see how we get to 8 unless there's a flurry of goals in that first period and they somehow rattle this goalie. Line has played well for Florida as well, too, since Bobrovsky has gone on the shelf with that injury. So with that said, I'm leaning under 7. I just don't see them getting over this total unless something weird happens in that first. If we get a goal, or if it's 1-1 or just a couple of goals in that first period, this game stays under the total. So it's under for me in this one, and I'll throw it over to Buster.
Well, Carmine, I couldn't disagree with you more. I actually believe what will happen here is that this game will be a game that they will play wide open because these two teams don't really know any other way. I understand what you're talking about with that Ranger game, but then again, if you watch the Rangers, those 2 or 3 games, I'm not sure what's wrong with them. I even maybe talked about this last week. They just don't look that good for a team that should be playing way better offensive hockey. Mind you, that third period of that game, you're right. The goalies played very well. I think the Rangers had 20 shots on net. They just didn't come up with the win there. Buffalo, as you said, has 2 games in hand. I do believe that Buffalo could be a live dog here, but I am with you, Carmine, on I think a good play might be Buffalo plus 1.5. I think it was minus 140. So if you're looking to play, that might be the play. Myself, I'd be a little gun shy. Buffalo be 4-4 going into overtime, and I would lose because Florida would win in overtime. So I'm going to stay away from this side here. But as far as the over, now these 3, like, as you said, Carmen, they played 4-1 and 3-1. I'm going to go back to that 3-1 game that was played in Florida. And as everybody knows, when I actually look ahead a lot and I mark down games a lot to look ahead. And this is one of the games I saw. I didn't expect the 7 over, although I have already bet it and gave it out to my clients. In that game, Florida had 50 shots on goal. Buffalo had like 36. It was wide open. And then just count the shots. They were hitting posts, missing. It was just crazy. Now you have 2 goaltenders that maybe the pressure could get to them, right? You look at these 2 guys, they haven't been here. As each game, as we get closer and closer to the end of the playoffs, as these teams, Florida, they need the win to tie the top Islanders. They're going to hope Pittsburgh loses, and they'll get over Pittsburgh. So Florida's going to play the way they play. And Buffalo, although Carmine, you said that you think they've been playing a little bit better defensively, I will say that they've been playing all right. But I think Florida will probably have another 40, 45 shots tonight. If that kid plays well in net, well, then maybe it doesn't go over. I can see it being 2-2 or 3-1 after the first period. I do like this over, and again, I do lean Buffalo if you want to play plus 1.5 if you like Buffalo. If you like Florida, you might want to play them in regulation, I guess, because I'm not laying 190. But for me, I'm taking the over 7. I don't care.
I don't care, he says. He just nonchalantly, Andrew, I don't care. I'm taking the over 7. And while Buster was talking, I did mention to a couple of guys in the chat, Tage Thompson, who missed, I think he's missed a couple of games. The reports I was seeing last night and reading last night were that he wouldn't be available today. So I don't think he's in the lineup. So that's part of that Sabres scoring out of the way. And then we'll have to see how the Sabres goalie does in this game. But you could get a situation, Andrew, like we saw with Philadelphia with Urson, who comes up and just looks unbeatable in his first 5 or 6 games for Philadelphia, who don't have the scoring, but have been playing some defense while he was at least during that part of the season when Urson was in goal for that team.
Yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, it's a lot of times goaltenders make their debut, and the players, the team, the defensemen, the coaching staff, they're well aware of it. They're trying to make sure that he's as comfortable as he possibly can. And these guys are athletes. They want to have each other's backs. And with that being said, they're going to give an extra effort defensively. They know they have a young goaltender out there. And like I said, I mean, I watched Devin Levi playing in the World Championships for Team Canada. I followed his junior career. He's been a top prospect for many years. And now we're kind of seeing him finally get his starts in the NHL here near towards the end of the season. But I find that sometimes, like I said last time when I compared Devin Levi to a starting pitcher in the MLB, sometimes when you have a starting pitcher that nobody has seen before, they have that really good start, right? And the next game they go out, some teams have film on them. They know what they do. They know the stuff they're throwing. And then that's the game they get shelled. Not their debut, but it's the next game sometimes where they give up lots of goals and stuff like that. So for that reason is why I'm interested in the Florida Panthers in regulation at minus 115 in this one. Carm, it definitely didn't sound very smart for me at the start of the show to say Buffalo checked out by how many wins they've had recently, and I'm happy you corrected me. I mean more so the fact that the race is getting a little bit more thin for them, and every game does matter for them at this point. They pretty much can't afford to lose any games. Is kind of what I was trying to say there. So I'm happy you corrected me on that one. But no, I like Florida in regulation in this one. I think Florida gets the job done. And I will say this, I was trying to find it while you guys were talking, but I think, Carmen, might be like a month or two since we've talked about goalie save props. It might be a good night. I like Florida tonight. Even though I like Florida, it could be a good night to look at goalie save props for Devin Levi.
Yeah, and those only come out when the goalies are actually confirmed. You'll never see them beforehand. They always want to see who the goalie is confirmed. And it's also an important thing, guys, to always, even just check Twitter and check team reporters who are there for the morning skate. Case in point is for the Sabres today. If Tage Thompson is on the ice this morning, and I hope he plays because the Sabres need him. If he's on the ice this morning, he will play. It's plain and simple. It won't be a game time decision. He won't be on the ice if he wasn't playing. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm looking forward to this game. I'll be watching it. And as you said, Andrew, I think the Sabres have to run the board pretty much, and they have a tough schedule. They have 7 games left. They're going to have to win at least 6 of them to even be within sniffing distance of those teams in front of them and hope that somebody falters. So we'll see what happens and move on to this next game.
Yeah, moving on to our next one here, of course, another team with playoff hopes, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Buster. They are taking on the New Jersey Devils. They are on the road in this one. They're plus 130 underdogs. New Jersey minus 150 total. Well, we kind of expected this one at 6.5, shaded towards the over. What do you think in this one, Buster? Pittsburgh and New Jersey.
Well, Andrew, I like New Jersey. Gave them out to my clients. Like I always tell everybody on the show what plays I give out on Tuesday to my clients. These are the two, the Florida over and the Pitts and New Jersey. I don't really like laying the 150, but to tell you the truth, I thought it was going to be a little bit higher. We have 2 clubs, of course, with lots to play for. Pittsburgh's trying to get to that playoff spot, and New Jersey is trying to maybe catch Carolina, which would probably be tougher. But better yet, they're trying to hold on to that second place spot so they have home ice advantage. Problem for both these teams, they're both playing that dreaded third game in 4 nights. And but in saying that, I believe it helps the younger Devils in this one. New Jersey has won the first 3 games between the clubs, so no reason to think that they won't win the 4th one. They played very well. And what I like about New Jersey here is the piece of crap game that they played in Winnipeg on Sunday night. It was terrible. just terrible. So when a team plays like that and they're in a playoff spot, they need to pick things up. I think they're going to do that. As for the total, it is 6.5. The under is 5-2 last 7 New Jersey. And out of those games this year, the 3 games, 2 of the 3 have went under the 6.5. I'm not too sure I want to take an under here with this game, but I'm going to have to pass the under, but I will play New Jersey minus 150.
All right, Buster's looking towards New Jersey, the favorite in this one after a rough performance. I'm sorry, I was just distracted by Carm resting his nose on his microphone there.
I didn't know what that was. I was thinking to myself, okay, what's going on here? It's just like I'm thinking, I'm trying to think through the whole thing. I've got my notes, and all I hear is.
What if I suffered a heart attack and I just leaned forward and my microphone was keeping me up? I love the concern for my well-being that the two of you have on this show. Please,
believe me,
I would never leave if I was.
You're way too young to die yet. You're way too young to die yet.
Yeah. If I was on like life support, you would be the last guy I would leave in charge of pulling the plug on me, because you'd pull it just to plug in your iPhone and recharge it. So
as long as I got your bankroll in my as long as I got your bankroll in my account, for sure I'd be pulling the plug right away. Yeah. I'd be checking how much does Carmine put in my bank account. Okay, he's good to go to the next life. See you, buddy.
All right, you go pick some avocados. I'm going to talk about this game, Andrew. This is the way I look at this Pittsburgh one. This is a game of importance for both teams for different reasons. Obviously, we know the story for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they're trying to hold on that spot. They got 5 games left. The next 2 are their most difficult games for them. They play the Devil and the Wild. They need to get something out of both of these games, even if it is getting the game to overtime to pick up points. They need to pick up points in these 2 games, and they're 2 very tough games. After that, they play the Wings in Detroit, and that's not an easy one, but they should beat the Wings. But we've seen teams, and I was there. Carolina came into Detroit and came out with no points in that game. Then they play the Hawks and Blue Jackets. Two games that you can likely give them 4 points in those games, because those teams for the final 2 games of the season have probably packed it in, and they're looking at the standings for those bottom 3 spots. So these next couple of games are important. Then you look at the Devils. The Devils had high hopes of catching Carolina for that number 1 seed in the Metro. They are at 3 points back. Carolina has a game in hand in that one. So I think it's going to be a little tougher looking at Carolina's schedule for New Jersey to catch them. But they got to be careful, because right behind them is the New York Rangers, and that their first round opponents, if they finish in those 2 and 3 seeds, then you're going to want home ice in that series. The Rangers are a much better team on home ice, and you don't want to give them home ice in that series. So this is just as important for the Devils here. I like the Devils here just because of the way that the Penguins are playing right now. They're just not playing steady playoff type hockey, and I think the Devils are a better team than them. And Buster mentioned that age difference. There is a big age difference throughout the roster. 26.6 is the average age for the New Jersey Devils, 31.5 for Pittsburgh. This late in the season, tired legs. It is a part of it. Obviously, a lot more playoff experience for on that Pittsburgh squad. But on the rock in New Jersey, I am going to take the Devils. So give me the Devils in this one.
Looking at the Devils, I mean, every game matters, but does not mean that every game is going to be a win for some of these desperate teams. That's a really good point here by both these guys that, hey, as much as Pittsburgh needs these wins, the Devils are trying to get some wins as well, secure their positions, and enter the playoffs on a really good note. And it is a really good point as well about the age difference. This is probably one of the biggest age difference, in the conference, I'd say. These 2 teams, taking a look at both clubs. Carm, I wanted to mention a guy that we talked about earlier in the season that we kind of stopped talking about for the Pittsburgh Penguins. His name is Brian Rust. Back months ago, we used to get his over 2.5 shot on goal prop at around minus 110, 120. Then he hit so many times in a row that prop turned into a minus 150, 160, 170. And then we stopped betting it. And the good news is when we stopped betting it, he stopped cashing. Well, the good news is now, Carm, he's at minus 105 to go over 2.5 shots on goal, and he's cashed this in 7 of his last 10 games. His shot counts are extremely high. We saw in the last couple games, he had a shot attempt number of 11. And getting, I told you guys before, with my props now, I'm really trying to, limit my risk, right? Limit the juice. So if I can get Brian Rust at minus 105 to go over 2.5 shots, that's most certainly a play that I'm involved in and I want to look at. I know we talked about the defense and the goaltending of the Pittsburgh Penguins, how it's a little bit weak. And pretty much if Pittsburgh, I saw a stat, if Pittsburgh had like any other goaltending tandem in the conference right now, expected goals wise, Pittsburgh would be in a comfortable playoff position. And that says something about their goaltending. But guys, I like the under tonight in this one. Maybe a little sprinkle on the draw, but this one should have a playoff feel to it. I could see a 2-2 game in the third period here, finishing 3-2 for somebody. So I'll give out the under and that Brian Rust play over 2.5 shots on goal. Of course, he plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Carm, keeping things going. Going to go to you for the next one. The Vegas Golden Knights and Nashville Predators. Yesterday, they were my sell team. Off to a pretty good start so far, man. And now they're playing a back-to-back. Vegas minus 130. Nashville plus 110. What do you have for us, Carm?
Yeah, Andrew, I just, listen, can Nashville win tonight? On any given night, anybody can beat anybody. We see minus 400 teams lose. This isn't a minus 400 game. But the Vegas Golden Knights are just a team playing with so much confidence right now. You look at that game yesterday, and it is a different guy doing it every single night, a different player. You look last night, 2 goals, including the one that ties the game, and then the guy also scores in the shootout. And it's a different guy stepping up for this Vegas team. They're just full of confidence right now. And how do you go against them, even on a back-to-back, but it's a back-to-back for Nashville, looking at Nashville and their list of injuries that just keeps getting longer, and a team that has been under pressure for the last month or so to win games. It just feels like the team has run out of steam. That's the narrative I'm using with Vegas Golden Knights and with Nashville. I just don't see how, it just seems like these are two teams going in opposite directions, and it's only a matter of time before we can officially put the final nail in the coffin for the Nashville Predators, and that could very well happen tonight if they lose this game in regulation to Vegas. I'm going Vegas. There's no other way for me to lean in this game. The price opened at 125. It's at, I think, 135 right now. So there's some 130s across the board. Try and make a case on this show, either one of you guys, for why Nashville should win this game. And I'm not saying they can't. Like I said, anyone on any given night can win. But even with your money, I would never bet on the Nashville Predators tonight. I just can't do it. Well, let's take the Golden Knights to win this one at minus 135. Don Buster, I'm looking forward to you disagreeing with me, so take over.
Well, Carmine, I don't just willy-nilly disagree with you. I usually have a reason, and I have no reason to disagree with you here, my friend. I agree. Vegas, I don't know if Vegas wins, that's for sure, because Nashville are at home. And again, this is they're both playing back-to-backs, and they're both in that dreaded third game in 4 nights. So that's always a little interesting. But here is the key, and probably another good reason to bet Vegas. They've dominated Nashville. They've won 6 of the last 7. They've actually won the last 4 in Nashville. And as you said, this game is do or die for Nashville now after losing. That was a bad loss last night. And that kind of thing sometimes tends to travel. It might that whole momentum of that loss might come into play tonight, and Vegas wins this one and Nashville goes away. But I know this might be a little bit crazy, but I kind of lean to the over here. The over's been 7-2 the last 9 between these clubs. And with both teams on that dreaded 3rd out of 4 games, again, we talked about it last game, maybe a little bit of tired legs going on. And as I always say, in this NHL, especially this year, and maybe even last year, 6 is a very easy number to get to. And Nashville, they'll be pulling their goalie, say they're down 3-1, they pull their goalie. They might pull a goalie 4-1 down, right? So again, with the 6, I kind of lean to the over only because of the spot for these two teams. If these two teams weren't playing that third game in 4 nights, I would probably just pass. But I kind of do lean to the over. I really want no part of this side, even though Vegas seems like the play. But they're going to be the play for everybody that's watching this, everybody that's betting hockey tonight. So that always scares me off as a game like that. So when I see that kind of stuff, I just pass. Slight lean on the over here.
All right, looking towards the over. And sometimes, Buster, I find that when you get that feeling in your stomach that the line is too good to be true, the over might be a good way to go because you like the favorite, but maybe the upset, the underdog will contribute a little bit to the scoring, and that could get you up and over the total. I have that game selected for my best bet for the show, so I'll hold off on discussing that one, and we'll move on to our fourth and final game, and that will be LA taking on Edmonton. And I think, speaking of everybody in the world and everybody that follows hockey, Buster, I think we were all shocked to see these two teams meeting last week and the game ending 2-0 and Edmonton having a good defensive game. I mean, I was tipping my hat, clapping my hands for them. Unfortunately, though, I actually did have LA, so I actually wasn't clapping my hands. But Edmonton minus 125, LA here short dogs. I guess you could call it revenge, but it's kind of a couple days now since they last played. But what do you think here? I find it very hard to believe that this game could be as defensive-minded as it really was last week.
Well, Andrew, I hate to disagree with you because you are the host and you do such a great job at this show. You've brought it so far so quickly these last 2 years. But, my friend, LA had 43 shots on goal in that game. Skinner stood on his head. The game that I saw. Yeah. So to me,
I had LA. I hear you. I was cheering for LA. I
had LA myself. I had LA myself in that game. But now LA comes here and it's a really bad spot. They were on a 4-game road trip. This is that dreaded third game in 4 nights. And although both these clubs are playing the best hockey probably of almost everybody in the league except for maybe Boston. Edmonton's won 11 of their last 13 games. And like I say, LA does have instant revenge. And you guys know how I like that instant revenge. Although, like I say, it's a really bad spot. LA, they've won 12 out of 16. They lost 2 games in a shutout. They lose that game against Edmonton 2-0. And they lose that game against Calgary 2-1. And I will argue that they could have had a way better fate in those 2 games doing that Western Edmonton-Calgary thing. So, but anyways, again, real tough spot here. Can't really lay money with Edmonton as a favorite because, it's just, no. So I'll go back to what you were saying, Andrew, about you couldn't believe it was 2-0. Well, the last time they played in LA, it was 6-3. So I'm looking for, especially with Edmonton on the road, what does Edmonton do on the road? They play way more wide open than they do at home. It's been proven all year. Here's a little fact. 22-6, the last 28 over for the Edmonton Oilers on the road. That's pretty good numbers. I haven't checked the percentage, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty good. LA have played a bunch of unders, which causes a concern, but they're in that dreaded 3rd and 4 night. So that all of a sudden you throw that out to me. Now, if Skinner stands on his head, or Corpusalo, well, then you're going to have an under. I lean to the over at 6.5. I was, again, and even in the 3 games, I'll just go through. They had 43 last game, LA did, 38 the game before, and 32. Even though there's been a couple unders in here, the goaltenders have played well. I'm looking for them not to play so well tonight. And we get maybe a 4-3 type game, 5-3 type game. I don't know who's going to win, but I like it over.
Looking over the total, those are really good numbers there, Buster. And, those numbers kind of help out my play because LA has been struggling a little bit to put up big numbers. Of course, in their last game, they did put up 4 against Vancouver, but I think that a junior hockey team might be able to put up 4 against Vancouver, but putting up 3 against Seattle, shut out in that game against Edmonton, 1 against Calgary. Back until, in their last 10 games, the last 5, they haven't really been scoring as many goals. But the previous 5 before that, they were really lighting the lamp. And my play for this one's going to be the team total over 3.5 goals for LA at plus 115. You want to give me the underdog spot here, the underdog price that we're going to get at plus 110, but I'll get plus 115 for a team to get to 4 goals and potentially maybe still not even win the game. And I like doing that when I'm playing against the Edmonton Oilers. You mentioned on the road how often their games go over the total. I believe LA gets 4 goals tonight. I think they'll remember what happened the last time they played. You mentioned it, man. That game finished 2-0, but hey, I don't think it deserved to be 2-0. And tonight, I'm hoping to see LA put the puck in the net. They will not get shut out tonight and hopefully get me 4 goals for that plus 115 team total for the Kings. Carm, what do you have for us in this one?
Man, I almost forgot I was on the show with you guys going back and forth over there. I'm actually talking to the guys in chat. I really like it. Bobody, Nerfik, Daniel, Rich, a bunch of great guys in our live chat. So I'm just punching in messages and it's completely ignoring what Buster's saying, but that's what I do normally, even when I'm not in chat, Andrew. Listen, I might be a square in this one, but I'm going where the money has gone in this game. Since this game opened at 110 both ways, the money's been coming in on the Oilers in this one. And I think rightfully so. Listen, these are two very good teams. They're going to likely meet in the first round of the playoffs because the way the Golden Knights are playing right now, I just don't see them giving up that top spot in the Pacific. Unfortunately, I never thought I'd be saying this all season long. The Oilers are coming off back-to-back shutouts. It is unbelievable. Back-to-back shutouts, the Oilers. This is a team we talk about that once we get near the playoffs or into the playoffs, we're looking at, is this going to be another Mike Smith blow-up in the playoffs? Is it going to be a Stuart Skinner blow-up? Is it going to be a Jack Campbell blow-up? Who knows? Maybe the Oilers are playing a better defense. I'm not entirely sure they are. We could see some goals tonight. The Edmonton team total is, I believe, 3.5 goals, even money. 3.5 goals, even money. And if you believe we're going to see some goals, I think we're going to see some from Edmonton as well, too. That 2-0, I think you draw a line through it. That's just a game nobody expected to see between these two teams. We could see some more goals tonight in this one. I'm going to take the Edmonton team total over 3.5 goals, but I do lean on the Oilers tonight. Whether that's the square play of the night, I don't know, Andrew, but it's what I'm going to take.
Carmen, I'm saying that if I like the team total over for LA and you like the team total over for Edmonton, I think we should just both put our money together and bet the over, the full game over. It sounds like we expect goals either way across the board.
Until one of the teams wins 4-0 and one of us is good with the team total and the over becomes an under. So that's entirely possible. But excuse me, I'm going to be watching a ton of hockey today. It starts with EPL soccer and then on to hockey. I'm going to have so many screens going on. And you're going to see a ton of screens when you come into town this weekend because I'm taking for those of you who know the Toronto area, right across from the Scotiabank Arena, we'll be watching the Montreal-Toronto game, is Real Sports Bar. And they have so many TVs. It's just like a man cave of man caves, Andrew.
I can't wait. I showed it to my buddy that's coming too. He said it's like a bar we have here, but on steroids. So I look forward to seeing it in person, man. Carm, make sure I get to the game as well. Eh? I mean, we want to have some drinks, but I don't want to be dragged into the arena either. So let's have a good time, but we'll take it easy with the shots and all that stuff before we go to the game. What do you have for us for a pizza parlay today?
Yeah, it is time. We haven't done one in a while, and I kept Detroit off of this one. I'm going to go with the New Jersey Devils tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to take the Vegas Golden Knights against Nashville, and I'm going to take the over in Seattle and Vancouver. Seattle in the second of a back-to-back. They lit it up yesterday. Martin Jones will start in goal tonight against the Canucks, minus 130. $100 pays you $521.70. That's a lot of pizza. If you're wondering what kind of pizza has cost you $100, have you never seen those gold flake cakes and those gold flake steaks? Well, this is a gold flake pizza. So let's give it a shot. $100, New Jersey, Vegas, Seattle, Vancouver, over 130 is your pizza parlay.
And shout out to our great graphics and much more producer here, Will. I mean, you got to love that graphic. That looks amazing. 3-team parlay there, $100 pays $521.70. Don't forget about the cents there. Buster, what do you have going today over at sportsmemo.com? And what do you have for us for your best bet?
Well, thank you, Andrew. It's, as we all know, it's $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo and at Wager Talk. So go check that out. 3 guys at Sports Memo, I believe. And I'm not too sure who's at Wager Talk, but it's $2. Go grab those picks for ourselves. Quite excited about this weekend. It's the Masters, and really looking forward to this weekend. And want to thank Melissa at head office. She put out a nice little package for myself that you get our NHL playoffs for $177, and we throw in our Masters package that is up and loaded at the site at Sports Memo. That is $25 normally. You get that one for free, and you get all my hockey. And one good thing everybody will know is that I will have a way better chance of winning those overtime games in the playoffs without all that crap of 3-on-3 and shootouts. So go over to Sports Memo and check that out. Our show play today, it's a game that we didn't talk about. I usually like to do the Tuesday Buffalo overs, as they're 7-1 on Tuesday since 2023. But I already bet that game, and I already gave it out to you. So the one that we do have for our show play is Philadelphia, St. Louis, over the 6.5. These two clubs have nothing to play for, and basically they will be playing a little bit of pond hockey to get their contract points. So a lot of guys will be needing maybe an assist, need a point to hit their contract numbers. So they'll be just playing for themselves. St. Louis has been scoring a lot of goals lately too, which is kind of strange. I thought when they got rid of everybody, they'd kind of pack it in, but looking pretty good actually. Philadelphia are 7-3 to the over the last 10. In the last 6 between these clubs in St. Louis, 5-1 to the over. Give us Philadelphia, St. Louis over 6.5. Make sure you go over to Sports Memo, grab our great playoff special, and you get the Masters package with it. And as always, best of luck with all your plays, everyone. And make sure, always have a great day.
Have a great day, Buster. Good to see you as well, man. And best luck with the Masters. I can't wait to watch this weekend. It's gonna be a great time, and might be Tiger's last swing at things. So I look forward to watching that and enjoying myself seeing some of these great athletes out there. Carmine, what do you have for us going today at Wager Talk? I believe you might have a big play up, and what's your best bet for us?
Yeah, 3 afternoon EPL games. They go at 2:45 p.m. So you can get those over at Wager Talk. And then, of course, a slate of action. There's 4 plays loaded currently. One of them is a 5% play. We're going to try and keep that really great run we've had in 2023 going with these 5% plays, 11-3. You can get that over at Wager Talk. Grab the 1-day all access, and you'll get all the NHL released, any player props, and, of course, the EPL soccer. So it is a great deal on $2 Tuesday. Let's see if we can get another winner. It's not a player prop. It is a total tonight. I'm going to go with the Seattle-Vancouver game. I'm going to go over the total. Second of a back-to-back for the Kraken after that huge 8-1 shellacking of the Coyotes. Another win here can pretty much stamp their way into the playoffs, although I believe they should be there anyways. Vancouver's tailed off, losing 3 straight, but all 3 games between these two this year, 5-4, 6-5, 6-1, have gone over the total. Marty Jones in goal tonight. I'm looking for some goals. Let's go over 6.5 minus 130 is your show best bet. And thanks for tuning in, guys.
Awesome stuff there. Love that play. And Carmine, best luck with your big play today, of course, and your soccer plays as well this afternoon. Guys, I'm off to a 6-1 start in the MLB at wagertalk.com. That makes me number 2 so far on this young season. I have a best bet going today in the major leagues. 2 plays looking like for me in the NHL today so far. I will tweet about it if I have any more going. My best bet for today, guys, I talked about it yesterday, and I will continue to put my money where my mouth is and fade these teams like the Nashville Predators. The Golden Knights are on a roll right now, playing very well, winners of 10 of their last 13. They've won 6 of the last 7 games against the Nashville Predators. Oh, yeah, and this Nashville team, 5-11 their last 16 games on the second half of a back-to-back. Give me the Golden Knights on the money line to take down the Nashville Predators. Carmine has Seattle, Vancouver over 6.5, and Don Buster with Philadelphia, St. Louis over 6.5. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
The NBA playoffs start the second week of April, with the NHL playoffs scheduled to begin immediately after. Whether you're looking to raise the Stanley Cup or lift the Larry O'Brien Trophy, we've got the deal for you. Postseason subscriptions are already a great deal at $219, but with this early bird special, we're slashing it even more to just $177 each, and you get the rest of the regular season for free. Between now and Sunday, April 9th, partner with your favorite NBA or NHL handicapper and get their NHL or NBA best bets all the way through the finals. No coupon is needed. Head to the homepage of your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo expert and finish the NBA and NHL postseason with a bang.